Hey Calvary, we are here at the ancient site of Corinth, which is an absolutely amazing site. And you remember around 4950 AD, the Apostle Paul had come into Corinth on his second missionary journey. He had spent time in the northern part of Macedonia. He had been in Athens, he had been in Thessalonica and Berea. And God had stirred his heart through the vision of the Macedonian man to come to Macedonia, and ultimately he made his way down to Corinth. When Paul was here, the Bible tells us that Paul was filled with fear and trembling, right? Because, as you know, Corinth had a notorious reputation. They were known worldwide for sin, kind of like today Las Vegas is. But he came into a city that was populated by about 300,000 people. When he came into the city, he was confronted first with the temple to Apollo. And that particular temple was dedicated to the patron god of Corinth. This is just a small portion of the temple. And 2,000 years ago, it would have been literally massive. It would have been overwhelming. The city was bustling with thousands of people. There were seafarers that had exited their boats while their ships were literally being towed overland 2 miles to the other part of the Adriatic Sea. But Paul came here and he preached the gospel. And in fact, we know precisely where Paul was preaching. This over here was the teacher's podium and platform. And Paul would have been teaching and preaching. He would have been giving his message. And the Bible says that he was filled with fear and trembling. And in fact, that's exactly what Paul was struggling with. He was overwhelmed with the wicked conditions of the city and just trusting in the Lord. Because, you know, this city was predominantly known for its sexual sin. In fact, if you were a seafarer during that time, you would have disembarked from your boat. You would have probably made your purchases in the agora and the marketplace, which is literally where we're standing right now. And then up on this hill, the Acro, Corinth, was the temple that was dedicated to Aphrodite, who is a goddess of love. And that particular temple, you can see the walls of the temple still exist today. But this was the high city, it was the citadel, it was the fortress city. It was located there at the top of that hill. And the temple to Aphrodite was literally populated. It was serviced by 1,000 priestesses. And so, you know, you're a sailor, you come in, you go consummate your worship of Aphrodite sexually with one of those 1,000 priestesses. This was the community that Paul was preaching in. And ultimately, Paul planted one of the largest churches in Macedonia, the church at Corinth, which had its struggles, but nevertheless was a church of the living God. So here we are. It's amazing to see, and I hope you're blessed.